Yes, we timed it. I think it's 23 and a half minutes. Depending on how long Nick holds that note, that's the half. I mean, I don't remember why it came to me. I was such a theater obsessed kid that I feel like I just tried to stay on top of like what was happening. And I remember like downloading it on LimeWire. That's like my most cognizant memory of it. And it was again like Mountain Duet and One Night in Bangkok. I know him so well. And then I didn't know anything else about chess. I had no idea what the plot was or the lore or anything about the London to Broadway back in the 80s. And so it wasn't until the audition came up that I like really started to deep dive into the history of the show. But I think a lot of us have that music in our collective consciousness from growing up. I mean, it's not normal that I still enjoy listening to a score outside of work. Usually when you hear something 8 times a week, you can come home and maybe not want to hear it anymore. And my husband is a really supportive husband in that he always listens to cast albums that I'm doing constantly. And sometimes I have to be like, I actually can't hear that right now. But with chess, I never feel that way. I could listen to that score over and over again for the rest of my life and not get sick of it. It's so good. I think for me, my passion has always been acting, and I have found in the past that singing can get in the way of that for me. So it's like if I wake up one day and I don't have a part of my range, or I'm feeling kind of crackly or crunchy, or my voice is just not where I want it to be, and I find that I can't go to work because of that, it really frustrates me because I just want to go there and tell the story. And so when the like technicality of the singing gets in the way, I get very frustrated. So I think that's where my complicated relationship with singing comes from, because I feel like it keeps me from doing my job sometimes. I'm really happy that with chess, from the jump, like we made all the keys really comfortable for me. So I'm never going to work being like, oh my God, I wonder if I'll be able to sing this note. That's just not how it's been. So I'm really grateful for that. So the singing, this is the first job where the singing has not really stressed me out. So maybe I'm starting to like it again. Yes, we timed it. I think it's 23 and a half minutes. Depending on how long Nick holds that note, that's the half. It took me a really long time in our run to figure out like what I needed to do to enter the stage running. Like not even, I have to get on a moving bullet train. And I'm the first person to sing on stage by themselves in the show, which is crazy to think about. And I have to come in super hot and give the audience a new perspective, which means that people always ask me like, what do you do in Act 1? And there's no world in which I can just be like relaxing and kicking it during Act 1. I have to be preparing myself mentally to enter and getting ready and like trying to stay off my phone and listening to my Russian opera. Dmitri Shostakovich, I know I'm pronouncing that last name wrong. I am working on it, I promise you. But he has these beautiful piano concertos and these violin pieces. There's 2 songs I have to listen to right before I go on stage every night. And it's like just a playlist called Svetlana. And my husband and I share a Spotify, and somehow the violin song is already like in his top 3 songs of all time because I listen to it so much. And like also listening to the show, so I know what is happening in the show and what the vibe is, so I know what I'm entering into. So it's not like I'm laying down on my couch for the whole of Act 1. It's like all a preparation process. But I always want to do more, and I love my time on stage. I'm always aching for more. And I was talking to my friend Michael Urey, and he was like, I think the thing about the 23 minutes is it's like less of a lift, but every single minute has to count. Every second has to count. And that's almost more pressure. I think a lot of it has to do with Anatoly, and a lot of like, He Is a Man, He Is a Child is great because it gives us some semblance of what their life was before he got so sucked into the chess world that he like left his family behind. And so there's a lot of mental picturing there. A big one I use like that lately. It's so funny because we've been doing the show for a little over 200 times now, and I'm still finding new stuff, which is just like the best. But lately I've been using this like really specific picture of like me having one of our babies on my chest, and like him, like it's like a picture of the 3 of us in my head. It's like him, me, and the baby. And that to me is like, it's almost like an etch-a-sketch image in her mind that she like can't think about because it's too sensitive. And then at the end of the show, for Endgame, it's like that picture goes up in flames when he makes his decision. And so I like use that picture throughout the show. So it was in the audition actually that the idea kind of was born. When I went in and I did the scene, I believe it must have been a scene with Anatoly. I think it changed as we rehearsed, but I played it very earnestly, and that I played it very much like I loved him, because up until that point, I didn't think of it any different way. And then Michael gave me the note to be like, okay, now play it like you're lying to him. And I was like, oh, why didn't I think about that? And so I played it that way, and it worked. And I was like, it's so interesting how, because it's not often that you can change intentionality and not change the text and still have it work within the conception of the show. And so I asked him in rehearsal, I was like, is this something that I could like toggle with every night? And he was like, yeah. Michael is such an actor's director. He gives you so much freedom. And like, I really feel like I've come into my own as an actor a lot of because of Michael and the freedom that he's given me, and like the affirmation that he's giving me that my instincts are correct. And he'll always tell you the truth, like when you need to rein it in or when he wants more. And I'm so great. I told my husband this last night, legit. I was like, I've never had a day where I was like, oh, I don't want to do the show tonight. I don't want to go to work today, which is inevitable when you do like anything for a long time. You get tired. It's a lot on your system. I've never felt that way about the show. I'm always so excited because my show gets to be different. And that's like such a blessing. So I like to keep the week even. And I usually like to end on a love him, because I like to go into my day off because it's a little bit easier than the hatred is like a lot. And it gives me like a lot of neck tension, I've found. So I like to end on a loving him, but then last week I ended on a hate him. So it's kind of what I have that day in me. But sometimes I also like to, if it's like been an emotional day for me and I know a love him would be easier, I'll do a hate him just to like make my life harder. Well, the wild thing is I got to watch Suffs quite recently and remember it all again, because I really had it. My brain is like a computer hard drive. Once I'm out of a show, it's like wiped and like time for the next thing. But I don't remember a lot of Suffs. So getting to watch it, especially all together at Town Hall, that was like very emotional. And even watching myself, I was like, I look like such a baby. I know it was like just 2 years ago, and obviously I like to change my look a lot. I like look very different now. But I mean, Inez and Svetlana are so different, so it's hard to like compare the two, but I definitely feel more of like a physical freedom now that like if I were to go back and do any job, there are things I would do differently, and I think I would have maybe like freed Inez up more physically. But that's stuff you can't know until you grow and you do more and you learn, and that's who I was, and that was who I was supposed to be at that time. I need to play more. We played a lot leading up to rehearsals and during rehearsals. He would literally put on like Endgame Part 1 from the chess in concert. We would play chess to that, which is so gross. But we haven't played since. He got me this beautiful chess set for opening that we haven't used because it's been a little psychotic. But I'm really excited to play again because I really do enjoy it. And I want to play more people because my husband is good, and I started like scaring him a bit as we started playing. Like I was getting better. So I want to continue. But I can play on chess.com. I can play against Svetlana too. So I have to do that. It's actually relatively, I was very intimidated by it. I thought it was like impossible to learn. It's not that hard. Especially if you like board games at all, or even gaming in general. The rules aren't like as complicated as like Settlers of Catan or something. It's like you can figure it out. It was really nice to be on somewhat of the same schedule. Hamilton always has 1 p.m. matinees, which like I can't imagine doing a 1 p.m. matinee. And we always joke that I'm on stage for 23 minutes. He's maybe off stage for 23 minutes, maybe. And I got to see his final show, and I was reminded of how physical he is and how I don't know how he did that 8 times a week. But he gets to the theater at like 10:30 on 2 show days, which is crazy to me. And so we would never go to work together, but coming home together was so nice. But I will say it's been nice having someone to hold down the fort at home just because it's been so crazy and our little cat needs. And now, so we have this teeny little kitten. She's 9 months old, and now she's such a daddy's girl. It's actually breaking my heart because she's so obsessed with him, and it's like I don't exist. But it's fine. I got her during previews, and she's a Russian Siberian cat. It was like the first time I've gotten like a purebred cat because my husband is allergic, and so we had to get one that didn't shed and all of that stuff. And I got her during previews, and Leah was like, "You have to name her Svetlana. She's a Russian cat." And now it's quite perfect. And she'll always be a token of this time, which I think is really cool.